Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. How you doing today? Hopefully everyone had a good Christmas. You're getting ready for the new year. And you didn't overeat. I know my ass, man, I need to get back out there putting my road work in. My son's out of school, so I've been busy with them, but I'm running every other day. Instead of running 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, I'm every other day. But, once them boys get back to school, I'm back on my regularly scheduled programming. But speaking of that, as I put on my watch, right? What does a win or loss do for Shakur, Ryan, Barrios, and Lopez? Now, I'm going to break this. I'm going to do a separate videos for each guy, right? But that's what I'm going to talk about here. So I'm going to drop 4 videos, man. But first, we're going to talk about Teofimo Lopez and what happens if he beats Shakur Stevenson. Now, I think people are split on who they think is going to win. They understand the skill of Shakur. They understand the skill of Teo. They understand the power of Teo. They understand the defensive nature of Shakur and his slickness and his ability to adjust. But they also take a look at it and understand, Shakur is a kind of smaller guy who's bubbling up to 140. And they're not so sure for a guy who hasn't shown power if he's going to have enough power to make a guy like Teo respect him. But they know for a fact his skill set alone can make Teo respect him. So he's going to see what Shakur Stevenson can do. But what I will tell you with Shakur and Teo, the fight's not just another 2 names on a poster. You know what I'm saying? This isn't one of those fights where they just take 2 guys and say, here you go, fans, shut up in color. Nah, this is a career-defining crossroads fight for both men. And I mean that. And this isn't just hyperbole and shit. No, this is really one of those fights where if a fighter wins, they go on to bigger and better. If the fighter loses, and it's unfortunate that it's that way, but fighter loses, his ass gonna have to get back into the goddamn pecking order and just try to fight his way back into a big money fight. You just got to understand, man, styles clash, personalities clash with these guys, and legacies are on the line. But one thing I've noticed is they're very respectful to each other. Teo's still a little bit quirky with it, makes his jokes, and it's all good. But there's some mutual respect. They both know what's on the line, and they both know what they bring to the table. So it's like they've done a SWOT analysis. They understand the strengths, the weaknesses of their opponents, and they understand the opportunities and threats. Now, a win for Shakur doesn't just move him forward, right? It reframes how boxing fans, promoters, and historians view him. Because right now, I think people kind of have mixed emotions on Shakur. The fight with Zepeda did Shakur Stevenson a huge favor. Even for me, I knew he had talent, but I was like, I don't know how he's going to handle somebody who comes at him like that. Shakur showed me that. I truly believe Shakur could do anything he wants. That being said, if Shakur had power, it'd probably be damn near impossible to beat. But with this fight, this is more than just belts. This is about validation, marketability, risk taking, and whether Shakur can silence the critics who say he's boring, while Teofimo tries to prove he's still elite and not living off the Lomachenko win, which Teofimo Lopez, in my opinion, has been on, kind of got himself into cruise control after the Lomachenko win, because he just hasn't returned to form. Will he in this fight? We're going to find out. Now, don't get me wrong, Teo can scrap, and he's continued to win, but he hasn't looked like the Teo who fought Comey and fought Lomachenko. I've been saying this for years. I'm going to keep saying it. It's because he no longer has Joey Gamache in his camp helping him out. Joey Gamache made all the difference, in my opinion, because he was there for those 2 fights. Then when Teofimo was about to fight Kambosos, Top Rank just wasn't affording them that stipend they needed to pay for the trainer, and they decided, we don't want to pay out of our own pocket. So they decided to just cut off Joey Gamache. No hard feelings. It was just a business choice, and Teofimo hasn't looked the same. But anyway, who is Shakur Stevenson right now? Because right now it's all about Shakur Stevenson, right? Shakur right now is one of the most skilled fighters in boxing. Even Shakur Stevenson's haters will tell you, We may not like his style. He may be annoying on Twitter. Whatever reason they don't like him, but they will all say Shakur Stevenson's skilled. They all say it. But also, to a lot of fans, he's one of the most polarizing. You look at his defense, elite. Footwork, elite. Ring IQ, elite. Yo, you know how hard it is, man, to be categorized as elite in those three categories? But at the same time, Shakur Stevenson's also labeled as boring, accused of running. I call him, I no longer say it, but I actually coined the term being a boxer runner. They got the boxer puncher. Shakur with that De Los Santos fight, I was like, yo, he's a boxer runner. But right now, I don't think that about him anymore. I'm not saying he can't convert back into being a boxer runner. But he showed me that if Shakur decides to be a boxer runner in the ring, it's because that's by choice. Because Shakur Stevenson can stand there and exchange and hold his position. He just doesn't have to, so why do it? Make the fight easy. And I agree with that. But that Zepeda fight had a lot to do with changing my opinion on Shakur. Even though I felt he should always be the favorite to win, I was just like, you know what, man, fighting like that, that's not going to last. But I'm telling you, he doesn't have to run if he doesn't want to. And the other thing about Shakur Stevenson, he's been criticized for a low punch output. But let's understand this. The truth is, Shakur hasn't yet had that one win that forces casual fans to shut up. The Zepeda win was a big deal. But people are still hating on him, man. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what it's going to take. They're almost doing him like they did Terrence Crawford. But I'll tell you what. Shakur dominates, but dominance alone doesn't always sell. But a win over Teofimo is a type of name that changes narratives overnight. And I really do. Although there's some people saying Teofimo's not the same at 140. He got a couple gift decisions. I don't know. I don't know if that would matter if Shakur Stevenson beat him. Because I think it's important to understand who Teofimo Lopez is in this whole story. And why I'm taking the position that I'm taking. Teofimo Lopez, he's kind of like, I don't know, y'all ever play Uno? They got the wild card and shit. Like, that's what he is. On one hand, you look at Teofimo Lopez. He beat Lomachenko. That was a big win. He's a 2-division champion. Yeah, 135, 140. Big personality, big confidence. Got a big-ass mouth. But on the other hand, he ended up losing to Kambosos, which will haunt him forever. But I do believe he had some medical challenges. He's been inconsistent in his performances ever since Joey Gamache left the camp. And as far as mental and emotional volatility, that's Teofimo Lopez. He seems to lose focus, lose composure in fights, even outside the ring. He seems to be a bit volatile. But at the end of the day, Teofimo Lopez is dangerous because outside of those pros and cons that I just shared with you, right? No matter what we may think, he's dangerous because he believes he's great. Even when the boxing world doubts him, that makes him unpredictable, and unpredictable fighters are often the most dangerous opponents. Even when he fought Jermaine Ortiz, you could see that he was getting frustrated. It's not that he was losing. He believed that he could knock Ortiz out or, get him up out of there. He just wasn't able, he wasn't cutting the ring off effectively. But I'm telling you this. Teofimo's dangerous. And no matter what you think, beating Teofimo Lopez for Shakur is not just beating the fighter. It's beating chaos. It's beating power, confidence, drama. He's a controversy, and also beating ego. That's what happens for Shakur if he can clip Teofimo Lopez. It's just styles make fights, man. And that's why you need to understand that this is a nightmare or it's going to be a statement. The fight is, for me, when you look at a fight like this, it's a classic boxing question. That's how I'll say it. Can elite discipline neutralize explosive chaos? Elite discipline, Shakur Stevenson. Explosive chaos. What we've seen displayed by Teofimo Lopez consistently throughout fights. Now, Shakur can control the distance, win rounds methodically, force opponents into mistakes. Teofimo has the power, explosive, fast hands. He's willing to gamble and take risks, which can pay dividends, which can make this fight very interesting and very difficult for Shakur because he has someone in there who has those Roy Jones Jr. Jerome boots in that type of athleticism. That being said, if Shakur wins, it's going to prove a whole lot, man. Defense still matters. IQ beats athleticism. Discipline beats emotion. Now, if Teofimo Lopez wins, it proves that power can change everything. We all know that. Speed kills, power destroys. So we're going to see what happens when they get in this ring. And then the aggression can overwhelm precision. Now, can Teofimo Lopez overwhelm and show the aggression he needs to make Shakur uncomfortable and get a victory? Now, I don't know. If he hasn't learned to cut the ring off and what to do once you cut the ring off, he's going to be in trouble. But one thing's for sure, I believe Shakur Stevenson, with that defense that he has, he can be cracked. He can be cracked. He got a, when he fought Zepeda happened to throw, I think it was a right hand at Shakur because he keeps that left down low. Yeah, I'm southpaw. He's southpaw. He keeps the right hand down low. And he just got hit with some shit, man. But I still think Shakur can get the win, and I think a win does big things for his legacy. A win over Teofimo instantly upgrades Shakur his resume. His resume, it just amplifies itself tenfold with the win over over Teofimo Lopez. It's going to say a whole lot. He beat a lineal champion. He beat a unified champion. He took a real risk, and he didn't cherry pick, especially if he doesn't, run in the fight. And this would likely be Shakur's most respected win. The Zepeda win is respected, but if he beats Teo, this is it. This is even more respected than, I think, Zepeda, Valdez, or Conceição, because Teofimo represents danger, not just skill. Teofimo represents everything. That's why the two of them are showing each other so much respect. They know what time it is. Now, legacy-wise, for Shakur, he'll become a certified elite fighter, not just a talent. His career narrative shift from safe technician to strategic assassin. And that's what Shakur Stevenson needs, especially going into this part of his boxing career. He needs people to see him as an elite fighter, not just a guy with talent who may run. They need to say, yo, this guy is a strategic assassin, not just a safe technician. And that would, I think, help Shakur Stevenson tremendously. And I think Shakur Stevenson will start to go on. He's already making good money. I'm talking about monster paydays. And he would deserve it. If you keep winning, man, especially in a dominant fashion, the fight purses go up. And with him being hooked up with Eddie Hearn and Turki Al-Sheikh and on that circuit, Shakur Stevenson going to make some money. And that's why I think we got to understand Shakur's market value. This fight is huge. Right now, Shakur struggles with pay-per-view appeal, but he's over there hooked up with Turki and Eddie Hearn, so he don't have too much to worry about there. He's still struggling a little bit with casual fan engagement. And he's got Eddie Hearn. He seems to be happy, but for a while there was some promoter frustration, but seems to be happy right now. So if he can clip Teofimo Lopez, Teofimo Lopez has a little bit of mainstream appeal, Shakur would absorb that. It would increase his bargaining power and make him, I think it is a step closer to becoming a credible pay-per-view star. He's already becoming the main event. He's already been a main event. But on these large cards that what they're doing in Saudi, he will continue to be the main event. But he's got to perform. He can't just come and get wins. He has to perform. You see, promoters don't just sell skill. They sell stories. And Teofimo Lopez win gives Shakur a story. And that's what Turki wants. He wants drama, not dominance. And that's what Eddie Hearn has to do to make sure that he finds the right opponents and can make the right deals and get Turki Al-Sheikh's consent and get him to buy off on it so Turki Al-Sheikh can fund it. And then now you got something really special going on for Shakur. And you know what that would have would do? That would silence the boring narrative. You know, because I always ask, does Shakur win convincingly or does he win entertainingly? Now, for me, I'm watching him. I'm entertained. But I understand for some people, they want to see two guys getting there, rock'em sock'em robots, Arturo Gatti, Mickey Ward. But even when they fought, there was a lot of skill. Yeah, they were going at it, but there was skill, man. Going to the head, going to the body, trying to slip, counter. But then they were just going for it. But it wasn't like a backyard brawl. They were going at it, but there was skill. So I think people are starting to respect, the Haney more, the Shakur Stevensons more. And I just think a win, if he wins but throws low volume, that could be an issue. If he wins but avoids exchanges, that could be an issue. If he wins but he's doing a lot of clinching late in the fight, I think the critics are going to say, yo, we don't know about this guy. But if Shakur Stevenson controls the tempo, makes him miss badly, frustrates him into mistakes, then I think the narrative is going to shift to, you know what? You don't like it, but you can't deny it. And he's going to get more and more support. You see, a dominant win doesn't need knockdowns. They don't need it. It needs humiliation through skill. And Shakur has that. And if he can do that, I'm telling you, all this shit about the power and knocking people out, knocking people down, no one's going to care. They're just going to sit back and be in awe of how talented he is and how he's able to break fighters down and have his way. And people are going to enjoy watching the sweet science. Now, conversely, if he loses, because right now we're talking about him winning, shit, if he loses, that's the whole other side. Well, you go to the goddamn dark side, won't he? A loss to Teofimo Lopez wouldn't end Shakur Stevenson, but it would slow everything down. Right now, he's got the goddamn hype train behind him. And not because he's hype. He's the real deal, but you know what I mean. He got the goddamn hype train going, but man, if he loses to Teofimo, a loss is going to say a whole lot. That he struggled with power, his style has limits, he may need adjustments, he really fought D and C level fighters. They're going to say all kind of crazy shit about him, which is not fair, but those are the kind of things you're going to hear. And the danger isn't the loss. I just think it's how he loses, Competitive loss, I think the respect remains. One-sided loss, the momentum gone. If he gets knocked down or stopped, serious questions. Fans are going to turn on him. And the way social media is when it comes to Twitter, when it comes to Shakur, and also Clarissa Shields, who I'm not going to talk about in this video, social media is so brutal. I mean, damn, man. I do my videos to talk about everybody. I try to be fair. I make my jokes, but that shit, social media, they don't cut Shakur, Gervonta Davis, Devin Haney too, but in Clarissa Shields, those are the ones I see. They always getting attacked, man. But what I'll say is great fighters aren't defined by never losing. They're defined by how they respond. So Shakur would have an opinion to bounce back and respond to the loss, and I think people would eventually have more respect for him and get back on the bandwagon. He probably have even more fans if he loses and comes back stronger than ever. And that's because I think you got to understand what makes a great fighter. And let's use Shakur Stevenson as the example. Great fighters have skill, mental toughness, adaptability, willing to take risks, and signature wins. Shakur already has skill. He already has IQ. He already has discipline. But I think he still needs signature risk, signature moments, signature name. Teofimo Lopez provides all three of those in one night. All three. Teofimo Lopez is the answer for Shakur Stevenson. Now, I'm telling you right now, for those of you who are thinking, Teofimo Lopez hasn't looked that great. If Shakur beats him, it won't matter. No, y'all got to stop with that. A win for Shakur Stevenson, and where that puts him in the sport, Shakur will become a top-tier pound-for-pound name, a legitimate Hall of Famer in progress, a nightmare matchup for everyone, 135 to 140, maybe 147. And he also becomes harder to avoid. You know what I mean? More expensive and more respected. People will stop asking, man, is Shakur really that good? You know, it's gonna be like, yo, who can beat Shakur Stevenson? That's what they're gonna say. Well, who can beat this guy? Like Bob Arum back when he was talking about Tommy Hearns. Who can beat this guy? Got power and reach. Big right hand. Who can beat him? Y'all seen that clip of Bob Arum back in there with the glasses and the hair and shit? Who can beat this guy? What the fuck? No one can beat him. He has his reach and power. That's impossible. There's always somebody out there. You know what I'm saying? It's my little man. Bring it, man. Bring it. Bring it. Is it working or you need help?
I don't know what happened, but it just...
Huh?
I don't know what happened, but I don't know what happened. It just...
Okay. Go get cleaned up and I'll come help you with it after this video. My little man, he's like a little engineer. He got this thing called a mega hand. It's an engineering project. He's 8 years old. He does them by himself. Dude is deadly, man. Very, very intelligent little guy, man. It's just amazing to watch him, you know. So I'm going to go help him. Let me finish this video, then I'm going to go help him, man. Brilliant, brilliant mind. Y'all got to cultivate the minds of your kids, man. There's no such thing as, stop doing this, stop doing that. Man, hell no. All my sons were like that. My 8-year-old, I'm getting off goddamn the video now, but that little dude be out there, man, with a soldering iron, nails, a hammer, rulers. He used to see the shit he builds, cardboard tape, stapler. You see the shit he builds. We don't help him. We don't tell him that. He just goes, you see what he builds, man. I mean, man made a goddamn vending machine out of cardboard, but with string and pulley system. Little 8-year-old. I'm like, how you figure this shit out? He just has the mind for it. So just keep building them. Anyway, man, I ain't here to talk about my little man. I'm talking about Shakur Stevenson in the direction he's going. But if Shakur really does the business, I just think, you know, maybe things don't take off for him. You know, I don't know. I would think it would. But you just got to understand the secret society and the politics of boxing and the business and the rippling effects. You know, if Shakur wins, I think on the positive side, it could force bigger fights. It could end excuses from other champions. It puts pressure on guys like Tank, Haney, you know, and other fighters, guys at 140. Shit, from 135 to 147, it's going to put pressure on everybody. But it also strengthens his hands against promoters, which doesn't seem like he has a problem there. Eddie Hearn knows what he has. Turk Al-Sheikh kind of has an idea. It gives him leverage in negotiations, which won't be a problem. Eddie Hearn will go to bat for him for sure. And Turk Al-Sheikh is going to pay him. And it'll make, I think, him getting lowballed, I think those days are over. I really do, unless he takes a loss. But this is where you look at the boxing politics can meet the boxing skill and can do amazing things for the fighter, or the boxing politics can meet the boxer's skill where the skill weren't good enough and they take a loss. And all of a sudden you find yourself not making the kind of Wu-Tang cream, cha-ching-ching, dollar bill, y'all, that you feel you deserve. So the bottom line is, a win over Teofimo Lopez will be Shakur's most important victory, a turning point in perception, and the moment he graduates from elite talent to elite fighter. The Zepeda win, I thought did enough, but according to fans, it didn't do enough. So, you know, this may be the fight to do it. But this fight doesn't just test Shakur his hands. I think this fight really, really tests his identity. And we're going to see if Shakur Stevenson is the truth. Anyway, make or break time for Shakur Stevenson. He beats Teofimo. Everything changes, man. I think there's a lot of risk people are talking about. But one thing no one's talking about is if he can beat Teo, he's going to silence all the haters. He should. But, you know, not all, because some people just don't shut up. The skin too tight. You know what I'm saying? Their skin tight, and their mouth just stay open. If their skin wasn't so tight, they wouldn't run their mouth so much. But he's the truth, man. And we're going to see what separates him from everybody else. Legacy, money, and pressure. Everything is on the line in this fight for Shakur Stevenson. But it's going to define him. Win, lose, or draw, it's going to define him. But I think he's going to win. And if he wins, Shakur Stevenson, he's up out of here. Y'all keep cool. Do about 4 more videos. Let me go help my son. Then I'll be back doing my videos. Right? Keep cool. I'm in the breeze.